Hola, mi nombre es Kyler Elliott y bienvenidos a este episodio de RunitBack. Sorry guys, I'm working on my Spanish and I have to say, I'm doing quite well for myself. I'll be a Duolingo pro in no time. Sorry, let me translate for you guys. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 8 of RunitBack. Now, I don't know about you, but I had a great family weekend filled with some fun festivities, the worst defensive performance I've ever seen, and hanging out with my parents who totally wanted to be there. I'm your host, Kyler Elliott, and we have a great show ahead for you guys. You know the drill by this point, but if you're new, we've got some Jayhawk sports coverage, pro sports coverage, and a couple returning segments, and a couple of news segments to wrap up the show. In the meantime, I'm going to work on my extremely amateur Spanish skills as we kick off this episode of Run It Back. For KU sports, the Jayhawks lost to Cincinnati this weekend after the defense gave up a touchdown with 30 seconds left in the game, and KU women's soccer has lost 2 in a row going into the Sunflower Showdown. But the women's volleyball team won their home opener against Arizona, and cross country is starting off their season strong after meets at KU and Mizzou. Let's rewind though, as Zach will recap this disappointing football game.
Thank you, Kyler. After an early and long 11 a.m. game on Saturday, I think most Jayhawk fans, myself included, went home heartbroken and with a very bad sunburn on at least one side of their face. The game on Saturday ended in silence as Cincinnati mounted a comeback in the last 2 minutes of the game, as it ended with a final score of 37-34. With that tough loss on Saturday, the Jayhawks record falls to 3-2, as KU heads into a 2-week stretch of away games. Despite the loss, we saw a quarterback and wide receivers chemistry on lock. Jalen Daniels and Emmanuel Henderson went off. Jalen Daniels ended his game 19 for 28 with 445 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, and he added 14 carries for 64 yards. Now, Emmanuel Henderson might have had the best game by a wide receiver that I have seen in a long time. This man had 5 receptions for 214 yards. His first touchdown of the day came on the first play of the first drive as he hauled in a 93-yard go route for the score, giving KU a 7-0 lead. His second came midway through the third quarter as he hauled in a short post route and turned on the Jets, taking it 75 yards to the house to tie the game up at 27. Emmanuel Henderson basically recreated that Randy Moss picture. Y'all know the one. Yeah, that one. Maybe not as good as Randy Moss's stat line, but you get the idea. Sadly, defensive struggles and a controversial targeting call in the third quarter that got star linebacker Bengali Kamara ejected from the game led to Cincinnati's comeback victory. Here are Coach Lance Leipold's thoughts on the final minutes of the game.
You know, the one that people will talk about, of course, we have a chance for a tip ball interception, and you know, we're close. But, again, you know, I don't know if we played real confidently in coverage all day, to be honest. You know, we started to create some pressure. I thought we did some, you know, I mean, that's a good quarterback. You know, he took shots. He put the ball where it needed to. He spread it around. They had a good game plan on attacking us, and they executed. Now, you want to be better. You want to tackle better. You want to be able to make consistent things, but you know, we just didn't do enough.
This weekend, the Jayhawks will head down to Orlando to face off against the UCF Knights as they attempt to bounce back after the tough loss. Now, let's send it over to Logan to hear about KU Volleyball's home opener.
Thanks, Zach. The Kansas women's volleyball team opened Big 12 conference play with a thrilling sold-out weekend at Horsch Family Volleyball Arena, and it was a sea of crimson and blue. On Friday, the Jayhawks fought a hard 5-set battle to Arizona State, but in the end lost, falling 9-6 in the season and 0-1 in conference play. It was a tough back-and-forth showdown, with Kansas taking the first set 30-28 and then battling to the very end until Arizona State ultimately closed out the match 15-11 in the fifth set. Jovana Zelenovic led the Jayhawks with 15 kills, 3 blocks, and a career high of 9 digs. Grace Nelson also added 12 kills and 6 digs. Reese Patak contributed 11 kills and 5 blocks, and Katie Dalton with 34 assists and 13 digs. Head coach Matt Ulmer praised the team's efforts, saying, "The positive is that we just keep fighting in the tight ones. It's just not consistent enough." But on Sunday, the Jayhawks turned things around and bounced back, sweeping the University of Arizona in straight sets for Coach Ulmer's first win at Horsch. Zelenovic and Nelson combined for 23 kills, with Nelson additionally having a career-tying 4 service aces. Patak added 8 blocks, matching her season high, and the team's defense and service game led the way in a 25-15, 25-22, and 25-19 victory. The Jayhawks now improved their record to 10-6 overall and 1-1 in conference play. Next up, the Jayhawks will travel to Fort Worth, Texas to face off TCU Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. For more updates on KU Women's Volleyball, follow their Instagram and X, and also be sure to check out kuathletics.com. Now to John with KU Women's Soccer.
Thank you, Logan. The Jayhawks women's soccer team unfortunately fell to the TCU Horned Frogs this Sunday, with the score being 3-2. Both teams came in ranked in the top 20, with the Jayhawks being ranked 14 and TCU being ranked 10. Lexi Watts and Sage Wimes scored both of KU's goals for the day. The Jayhawks are now 7-2-2 on the season and 1-2 in Big 12 conference play, and TCU improved to 9-1 while maintaining a perfect 3-0 record in conference play. The Jayhawks drew first blood early after Watts took a pass from TCU and took an incredible shot to put the Jayhawks up 1-0 in the 5th minute. TCU came back in the 25th minute and scored a penalty kick after a KU handball violation. Seven Castaigne of TCU scored the penalty kick, which was the first of her goals on the day. Her next goal came after a rebound in the 63rd minute. This put the Horned Frogs up 2-1. Just 2 minutes later, Castaigne scored her third goal of the day to complete her hat trick and made the score 3-1. With a valiant effort by Wimes, she was able to get a turnover in the 83rd minute in TCU territory. She saw the open goal, took her shot, and scored to put the Jayhawks on the board once again. Sadly, this was the end of the scoring for the Jayhawks, and KU did not end up the victors. However, plenty of season left, and a lot of good came out of the game. For starters, KU took 15 shots in the first half, which was the most shots taken in one half for the Jayhawks since a single half in September 13th of 2024 against Friends, when the Jayhawks took 16 shots. The Jayhawks ended the day outshooting the Horned Frogs 19-12. Another incredible story to come out of this game is that of Lexi Watts, who continued to create a huge name for herself with now 23 career goals and 6 on the season. Plenty of good came out of this game, and that will continue to build on as we get deeper in conference play. We have a big one coming up this Thursday, October 2nd. It's the Sunflower Showdown, the best rivalry in the land. It's Kansas versus Kansas State in our house. Go support the girls this Thursday and pack the park.
Thanks for that soccer update, John. Now let's switch gears to a sport that we usually don't hear much about, which is KU cross country. The Jayhawks made the trip to one of their biggest rivals, Mizzou, competing at the Gans Creek Classic in Columbia. Out of a tough field of 26 teams, the Kansas men's team finished 5th overall, and the women's team finished with a solid 7th place. The men's race kicked off things with an 8K run. Freshman Reagan Kibbitt made a great first impression his first collegiate race, crossing the line in 23 minutes and 52 seconds to place 9th overall. He also ran the fastest final kilometer of any runner in the race, climbing up to 10 spots in the last stretch. Kibbitt was followed closely by senior Tanner Taylor and sophomore Rael Gidrabi, who both placed into the top 65. Higuchi sophomore Parker Wallian each posted new personal bests, helping the Jayhawks secure their top 5 finish. On the women's side, sophomore Caitlin Schwartz led the team with a breakout performance. She ran a new personal best time of 21 minutes flat in the 6K. placing 12th overall and earning 10 points for Kansas. Right behind her was Emma Jamuchai, who placed 23rd, while Tori Wingrove came in 50th to round out the top 3 for the Jayhawks. The woman finished 7th with 242 points in a field dominated by Stanford, who took first with just 53 points. Now, don't miss the Jayhawks when they return back to Columbia for the pre-National Invitational on October 18th. Well, that's all I have for the cross-country team, and we'll be right back after the break.
Three days later.
In the professional sporting world, Xander is back with the NFL Sunday Scoreboard once again to showcase all of the amazing games that happened this week. Next, Luke will give us a sneak peek into the NHL as the preseason began on Friday. Lastly, we're going to move over to the MLB as Seattle Mariners catcher Cal Riley swings his way into the history books as he continues his historic season. But let's go to the Sunday Scoreboard.
Thanks, Skylar. Week 4 action kicked off in Dublin, Ireland, as the Steelers held on to win a close one over the Vikings. The Carson Wentz legacy run ends in international waters. The Lions dominated the Browns 34-10, and Joe Flacco's play has some fans wondering, is it time for perfect timing? Just kidding, nobody is asking for that. The Bills stayed undefeated, and the Saints stayed winless in a game that was probably closer than it should have been, but a win is a win, as the Bills took it home 31-19. My New England Patriots obliterated the Panthers thanks to soon-to-be MVP candidate Drake May, who had 3 touchdowns in the 42-13 win. To all of the Patriots fans, the Super Bowl parade is officially back on. How about the Texans getting a shutout victory against the Titans? Amazing what a team can do when they remember they have to protect their franchise quarterback. Unfortunately, it appears the Titans missed this memo, and they now sit at 0 wins and 4 losses. Jackson Dart led the Giants to an upset win over the Chargers in his first ever start. What an opening for the first-round pick to help the Giants get their first win of the season. A battle of NFC undefeated teams saw the Philadelphia Eagles hold on for a 31-25 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And closing out the morning slate, the Falcons put an end to Mariota Magic as they downed the Commanders by a score of 34-27. In the afternoon slate, we saw the Jaguars win on the road against the 49ers 26-21 in Brock Purdy's return to action for the 49ers. Not a good look for the Brock Purdy stands out there, all 10 of you guys. The Rams got a 7-point win to hand the Colts their first loss of the season after Matthew Stafford found Tutu Atwell for an 88-yard touchdown pass. They sealed the win with Cam Curl intercepting Daniel Jones just 40 seconds later. The Chiefs got a statement victory over the Ravens, and Patrick Mahomes once again looked like himself, with 4 touchdown passes in the 37-20 victory. Closing out the afternoon slate, just when we thought we would all get to laugh at the Bears again, Josh Blackwell comes out of the air and makes a diving field goal block to clinch the Bears a big victory on the road. Closing out the day, Sunday Night Football was a back-and-forth clash that ended in a 40-40 tie. But congrats to me for hitting my parlay. It's confirmed. I am absolutely a football genius. That's all from me. Now, let's go over to Luke with some NHL preseason content.
Thanks, Xander. Unfortunately, my Vikings couldn't get it done this week, but we'll be back next week. Anyways, on to some hockey. The NHL preseason kicked off last week as teams get their final preparations in before the start of the season. There's lots of new talent joining the league, along with some legends on the way out. The preseason is a time where teams play their young guys to see if they have what it takes to make the NHL roster. There's tons of new talent entering the league this year with players ready to make a name for themselves. I'm going to be running through some guys you should be looking out for this preseason that I think will have big impacts for their team. player I think is going to make big waves throughout the NHL this year is Ivan Demidov. He was drafted 5th overall in 2024 by the Montreal Canadiens. The right winger has stood out this preseason, showcasing his stick work and finishing near the net. With his performance this preseason, he should be a lock to make the opening night roster. The next guy I'm going to be looking at is St. Louis Blues forward Jimmy Snuggerud. The right winger was selected with the 23rd pick in the 2022 NHL Draft. Snuggerud is going to be a very nice player for the Blues, as his offensive ability will be a big plus for that team. The last player, someone I will be keeping a very close eye on as a fan of the Minnesota Wild. Last year, the Wild selected defenseman Zeev Buium with the 12th pick in the draft. He's regarded as one of the best prospects in the sport of hockey for his ability to do just about anything. He's an elite scorer, defender, passer, and skater. He has all the tools to become one of the best defensemen in the league. My favorite moment from the preseason so far is the final send-off for the man they call the Flower, Marc-Andre Fleury. While last season was his last official season, the Pittsburgh Penguins decided to bring Fleury back to the place where it all started for one last send-off. It was a very emotional moment as fans celebrated the career of a Hall of Famer for the last time. That's it from me today on the NHL. Now we're going to take a break.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Wrapping this show up, Landon and Michael went around the streets of Lawrence to ask some students and parents about Cincinnati game predictions. Then, those two will team up with Jane to bring back King Landon, King Michael, or Queen Jane, I'll let you three choose, and the analysts of the round table. Zach and Johnny will team up for a new segment. Finally, Johnny will continue to bring awesome parlays. But let's go to Landon and Michael.
Wow, what a great package from such a great-looking guy. Anyways, we are nearly 4 whole weeks into the NFL season, and it's gone by way too quickly. It feels like it was just yesterday I was watching the Panthers lose in the most embarrassing fashion possible. Well, actually, that was yesterday, but you get the idea. As you know, my name is Landon Bassov. I'm back at the roundtable once again, joined by Michael Tomasco and Jane Runyon. Today, we're back to overreacting, and trust me, there is a lot to talk about. Michael, what's on your mind?
It was a disappointing first 2 weeks of the season, but after a great win over the Giants and a complete domination over the Baltimore Ravens, I am happy to report that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are officially back in action. With Rashee Rice coming back very soon, I think our offense is back on track and the Chiefs are officially back to greatness.
I completely disagree. I think their defense is still pretty bad, and I don't think they have what it takes.
You know, I'm a pretty big Chargers guy, so I'm not too sure if they even take the division. But the Super Bowl, you're shooting way too high. Jane, you had something to conflict on Mike's opinion. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think the Bills are probably going to be Super Bowl champions. James Cook is really cooking, and along with Josh Allen, who could beat that?
Personally, I kind of agree. I think the AFC is honestly up for grabs. Chargers obviously, so that's just my take there.
I think that the Bills are another offensive dynasty. I think they look great. James Cook is cooking. I completely agree. But, I do wonder how they're able to perform in the postseason. They've been a little inconsistent so far, but hey, I'm open to Josh Allen doing whatever. Landon, I know you're a big thinker here. What is your overreaction for Week 4 of the NFL?
Well, Mike, there's 3 things in life that are inevitable: death, taxes, and the Carolina Panthers just embarrassing me. It's disappointing to see. The front office, the coaching staff, they completely mishandled Bryce Young. I think there's got to be a fire lit under that organization, and if not, you got to fire everyone. The coaches, the coordinators, the general manager, even the water boys. You got to blow that whole organization up. I'm not liking what I'm seeing in Carolina.
I agree. I think there is nothing going well for this organization. They haven't looked good for the past 10 years. I don't see them going in any kind of a good direction in the foreseeable future at all.
I completely agree. You think they would figure something out by now, but they haven't.
You would think. It's been, over 10 years since we last saw them in the playoffs. So,
since Cam Newton.
Yeah, missed that time. Superman.
Bryce Young doesn't look any better.
Nope. It's all right, man. We'll get there one day. Well, that's going to be all from us today. Any longer, you'd have to listen to me rant about the Panthers, and trust me, you do not want to hear that from me. We're now going to send you over to Kyler to cap things off for the day. Wonder how he's feeling about that Packers tie game. It was a great game, 40-40. Kyler, how are things looking in Green Bay?
Welcome, everybody. We are here with a brand new segment that we like to call Bring In the Boom. We are going to run down the top 6 plays from this past weekend where someone brought the boom. We're talking big hits, trucks, crazy blocks, and more exciting plays that reminds us why we love football so much.
We're going to start things off with a crazy sack that led to a scoop and score for Tennessee on Saturday. It was Tyree West with the hit and Joshua Josephs with the recovery and score. Oh my goodness, did you see that?
You never love to see a blindside hit on the quarterback. It makes you rethink your left tackle choice. Now, for the next play, we go to Philadelphia, where Bucky Irving stiff-armed Georgia legend Keely Ringo to the dirt. Right here, he just makes the man hit the Michael Jackson lean back that we all know so well.
Now we take a trip a few miles down the road where the Chiefs hosted the Ravens. Kick returner Nico Remigio had a monster return for the Chiefs. Oh, wow.
He decides to give up on the stiff arm of the kicker. He said, "You're not worth my time, and then I'm going to truck you as I'm running out of bounds, because why not?" So now, let's revisit Philadelphia for a second. Here as we break into the top 3, as we look on this monster hit on poor Devontae Smith of the Eagles. This collision was caused by Bucs rookie Benjamin Morrison.
Sorry to hear about you,
Devontae Smith. You get three big booms.
Boom, boom, boom. At number 2, we take a peek at Alabama, who decided to let the big man, Caden Proctor, rumble his way through the Georgia defense to get the first down on this absolutely wild play.
He's running it to that end zone like he's got a donut waiting for him there. You love to see big man run plays. Caden Proctor, you get 4 big booms. Boom, 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 boom. And for our final play, and the winner of this week is Isaiah Pacheco. On this play, He just wanted it more against the Ravens with this crazy pop on poor Nate Wiggins of the Ravens. Nate Wiggins, we're so sorry to hear about you. You get 5 big booms. Boom, 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 boom. And with that concludes our first edition of Bringing the Boom. Thank you everyone for watching, and now Johnny is going to go over his picks tonight for Monday Night Football.
Someone please call the fire department because I am absolutely on fire right now with these picks. Assuming I counted correctly, I'm pretty sure that's 4. But like Kobe said, job's not finished. We run it back again tonight with another Monday Night Football doubleheader. Oh man, am I so excited for these 2 games tonight. The action starts rolling in at 6:15 tonight when the Dolphins host the New York Jets. The Dolphins are slight home field favorites at -2.5 tonight. This one is simple to me. Just like my GOAT LeBron, I'm taking my talents and money to South Beach to bet on the Jets. Now, this is a team that I am very intrigued by right now. They are 0-3. Not much good going on with the program, or that's what they want you to think. This team has been silently in games without their quarterback, Justin Fields, for the past couple weeks. But now he's back. I believe this is a team that is angry and frustrated. And just like we saw with our last segment, football is a sport that is meant to be played angry. I'm going with my gut on this close one, and I'm taking the Jets to cover for another underdog pick. The next game is at 7:15 at Mile High Stadium. The Denver Broncos will be hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. The Broncos are favored at -7.5 tonight, and as they should be. The Bengals might have the better record, but what that defense allowed last week was just outright pathetic. 48-10 against the Carson Wentz-led Vikings. I mean, that's just unacceptable. Losing Joe Burrow again just put out the fire that it seemed these boys played with. And now we're getting blown to smithereens by Carson Wentz and Jordan Mason in the Big 25? It's ridiculous. But let me not just sit here and hate while the grill is starting to heat up for another home team. Oh, and they're cooking with gas. Sean Payton and the Broncos have been struggling to finish these past couple games, but those games were only lost by a combined 4 points. The Broncos have all the motivation in the world, and I believe they get that get back that they've been waiting for since December 28th last year. They are due. Big Play Bo gets it done tonight at Mile High, and I'm finally breaking my streak of underdog bets, and I'm taking the Broncos to cover easily. Man, I'm excited for tonight. And of course, bet responsibly. Back to you, Kyler.
I must say, my Packers sure are getting closer to my prediction I made in last week's episode, even though it was a tie. So I think Johnny should just start depositing his checks into my bank account. Landon, Michael, Jane, I'm sorry for not answering your question about the MVP in last week's episode, but my prediction for the NFL MVP is none other than my king, Jordan Alexander Love. I say that because he is the quarterback for the greatest NFL franchise on earth and will lead them to the promised land once again. Unfortunately, I'm out of talking time for today's show. Make sure to tune in this Friday and next Monday for the latest and greatest sports news here at KU and in the pros. During this show, I did improve my Duolingo skills, and I'm ready to blow you away with my Spanish. Adios a todos y nos vemos la próxima vez. Now that was some amazing Spanish. Stay safe, drink water, touch some grass, and remember to run it back.